my friends. Blooper. This was a quick video, a recap for a client. I understand that sometimes chord theory, why something is called an A7, sharp 11, whatever that is. I understand that's difficult, so I wanted to make it into a video. It is packed with a lot of information. I try not to babble too much, which I know that I can do. So go through it, write some notes down too. It got a little bit more in depth than I thought it was going to be for such a short video. I was getting into some chord substitutions and stuff like that. But also, again, I just want to say the lighting's bad. It was supposed to be a recap video, and then I decided to make a video for everyone. And I wanted to do it right now. So lighting's bad. It's quick. It moves quick. There's a lot of information. Comment below if you need help with any of the understanding. All right, my friends, we can have a 7, right, which is a 1-3 flat 7. We can have a major 7, which is a 1-3 natural 7, right? Or we can have a minor 7. Let's just stick to those three. 1 flat 3 flat 7. Okay. If I want to add an extension, if I have a 9, let's go to the next extension. Okay. If I have a 9 chord, it's a 7 chord with the 9 added. If I have a major 9 chord, it's the major 7 with the 9th added. And if I have a minor 9, it's a minor 7 chord with the 9th added. So that 7 is implied. It doesn't have to say major 7, 9, okay? Now, if I move that forward to 13, I can have an A13. It's an A7 with the 13 added. Extension, the 13 tension extension. And the 9 can be a part of that chord, okay? And that's the same thing with the minor. The 13s are a little bit interesting because the 13 is technically not really a pleasant extension. A natural 13 is not a pleasant extension. So we start getting the sharps and flats, which sharps and flats are written in that chord. They are very much like an E7 sharp 9. It's not just an E sharp 9. E7 sharp 9, because that 9, it's not just an E9, which would just be an E7 with that 9 on top, an E9. But once the sharps or the flats have to start getting involved, then we have to start marking each one of the extensions. Now, if I go back to the A7 and say, all right, now I have an A13, or maybe an A major 13. All right, what about my 4? Why is the 13, we're automatically assuming the 7, whether it's a major 7 or a flat 7, if it's dominant. But why am I not doing that with the 11? What's happening to the 11 there? Or why would you see an A7 sharp 11 maybe? Well, there's a sharp, so it's got to be written in there. But the 11, if I have an A13, the reason that the 11 is not assumed is it is not a tension extension of the chord. It is for rules as far as a dominant or a major is concerned, because of the major third in both chords, dominant 7 or major 7, because of that major third, right? The 11, the 4, right? It's a half step above one of the chord tones, so it is not technically an extension, which is why it tends to say it tends to have an add onto it, like an A7 add 11, a major 7 add 11, or even add 4. Depends. Dispute. Somebody could settle it in the comments if technically it's an 11, right? Because if it's a chord scale, it's not an 11. It's an S4. It's a scale tone 4. It's not a tension 11. If anybody wants to get super technical with that, and that's why it's not really written. So essentially, what we have here is, with our dominant 7, I can have my regular 7 chord. Cool. D7, right? I can have a D9, which is a D7 with a 9. I can have a D13, which is a D7 with the 13, and also a 9. Okay, can also be in there. Can also stack in there, but not the 11, because that is not a chord tension. That is just a scale tone, just to be passed in melody. Same thing with the major. If I have a major 7, I'll just play it this way, right? Same deal. Major 9, it's a major 7 with the 9 extension. If I want to have a major 13, right? Beautiful chord. I can add the 9 in there. So I would have an A major 13, A major 7, has to be there, and then add the 13 in there as well, or and as well the 9, but the 11 is not a part of that. Okay. In a minor, it is. Okay. So if I have a D minor 7, cool. D minor 7, that's great. If I have a D minor, the 11 is an actual extension of it. It's actually a really nice sounding chord. That's how I always like to play it, because it sort of has this really nice 4-4-4 kind of a, it's like stacked 4s, right? Be an A minor 11. I've seen it written, because the 11 is so taboo in the other forms. I've seen A minor 7, 11 in parentheses. And then the 13 just creates a very busy sounding tritone. That 13 gives a very dominant feel, because that's sort of the tritone there. And the minor, the 2, which is the only place that you'll have a natural 13 or a natural 6, it is not a dominant function. It is a subdominant. The 2 is a subdominant. Okay, so you don't want to have that tritone dominant feel. Okay, so the 13 is not technically in there. The 9 is, so you have a 9 extension and an 11 for a minor chord. I mean, what's really nice is that minor that will save you for both the 2, because we're taking the 6 away, the 13 away. It'll save you for the 2 chord. And the 6 chord, okay, and then of course, if we do get into a flat 9, if we're dealing with the 3 chord, again, that is supposed to be diatonic, right? So where that flat 9 would be, we're still creating a pretty heavy. If I play an A minor 7 with a flat 9, very dominant feel. I'll use that chord, right? An A minor 7, flat 9, I will use that almost as a C7 substitute if I want to go into maybe a D minor or an F major 7. But that function as well is not supposed to be dominant, so we don't want that really prominent tritone in there. So the flat 9 isn't going to be an extension, but like I said, sharp 11s, flat 9s, flat 13s, if they are part of the chord, anything that's flat or sharp will need to be written in. Okay, so you're sort of lucky in that case. You'll have if you're sort of dealing with diminished, reharming diminished chords, or whatever. You'll deal with the substitution of a flat 9 sharp 11. You have a D7 flat 9 sharp 11. I mean that's dealing with 2 extensions, because the sharp 11 technically it can be a valid extension. Off of that root chord, off of that root note, and a flat 9. But you have to label those, because if it's not just D 13, right, the 7 and the 9 are implied in that D13, because we don't need to worry about flats and sharps. Once flats and sharps come in, got to write them in. I hope that helps. That gets a little bit into chord scales, and some ideas of why you're seeing, if somebody says, wait, an A13, why would a 9 be in there? What is that? Hold on. This is why you're seeing an 11 written without a 9 written in. That's why you're seeing the 11 written with the 7, but you're seeing the 13 written in with the 7 implied. These are sort of the reasons why. The more you, my last suggestion is, when you're getting into this sort of chordal theory, look at the chord, right? If you're playing it like off of a chord chart, look at it and then look at the chord name and see if it matches, if you can understand it, right? Rather than just saying, like when people are just like, oh, E7 sharp 9. Oh, that's the Hendrix chord. It's played like that. It'd be really nice, if you sort of said like, I think what a lot of people just cross over this very beginning sort of chordal theory, you sort of have that E7, but then you're like, wait a minute. Well, if I play those 3 notes, it's an E minor 7, right? But those 3 notes, it's just an E7. Well, yeah, wait, that means it's a major third and a minor third. Well, no. Major third takes over. Okay, whatever tone is that dominant of a tone. I don't mean that in the same way of a dominant chord, but that becomes the dominant tone of a third. We can't have 2 thirds. You can't have a major third and a minor third. So that becomes your sharp 2, your sharp 9, right? As the extension, a sharp 9. Right, so if you're looking at it, you're saying like, all right, well, 7, oh, look at that. It's my 9, sharp 9, okay. So look at the chord and try to understand it. If you need help, I understand that that can be a little bit heavy for some people. It could be a little bit light for probably some people in the comments that are going to teach me something, which I think is great. But I just wanted to throw that out there because I was working with a client on that. I'll see.